Now at 5, authorities make an arrest after a woman is stabbed in a Joplin park. Plus, law officers search for a woman wanted in a Southwest Missouri shooting death and helping pets with prosthetics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A man is in custody after a woman was stabbed multiple times in Joplin. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The stabbing happened shortly after midnight at Joplin's Ewart Park. The victim was conscious when crews rushed her to the hospital. At last report, she was in stable, non-life-threatening condition. Police say they arrested a suspect without incident more than 9 hours later. No word yet on any formal charges. Law enforcement across the 4 states are on the hunt for this woman, Dawn Nguyen, a Mcdonald County woman accused of shooting her husband while he was sleeping. Authorities found Harold Nguyen shot to death in the couple's fifth-wheel camper west of Anderson, Missouri in November of last year. She was arrested and charged that day. She's been out on bond awaiting trial, and according to the Mcdonald County Sheriff, part of Nguyen's bail conditions required her to stay at her mother's home in Pea Ridge, Arkansas. Well, now Nguyen is missing and her bond is revoked. Investigators say she might be headed to northeast Oklahoma, but she has ties in southwest Missouri and specifically in Joplin. Authorities have released the identity of a woman found dead in a Lamar, Missouri home yesterday. She's 35-year-old Beatrice Adriana Moreno Martinez of Thousand Palms, California. An autopsy was to be performed today in Springfield, but authorities have not yet released the cause of death. As the new school year is set to begin, the new McDonald County Curriculum Director is holding district-wide meetings for all McDonald County schools. The purpose is to make sure the curriculum and teaching materials across all districts are up to date. The new director says having the same and correct curriculum are key.
And so it's allowing us to use this time to just not necessarily make changes, but to make sure that everybody's familiar, acclimate new teachers, talk about resources that we use, and just put everybody kind of on the same page and ready to go as we open up the school year.
McDonald County schools begin classes on Monday. Today is the Pittsburg State University Marching Band's last day of practice for their week-long Pride of the Plains Marching Band Camp. This summer, the band has had changes in their leadership after a loss of their longtime director due to a heart attack. The new interim director is not a new face for the band, as he's been observing the practices before taking over the interim role last week. We're going to hear from him tonight at 6. Sam Lane joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much. It's been a beautiful day across the area, not too hot out there, and even some storms on radar, especially up to the north and west. This is the next storm system that's going to be affecting our area. You can see some severe thunderstorm warnings just south and west of Salina right now. Not any severe weather right now, but we'll have more details on that in our forecast. Lows this morning were in the 60s, very pleasant across the area, 62 in Neosho and in Cassville. But this afternoon, temperatures warmed up pretty nicely in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, especially out to the west, where it made it up to 93 currently in Sedan. Your weather almanac looks like this. 90 in Joplin today, which was normal. We were below normal for the low, so technically we were slightly below normal for today. The records are 101 and 55 back in 1950. Let's take a look at the Skycast forecast for tonight, as well as in the Pineville area for the Jesse James days. We're expecting temperatures to drop down into the 60s tonight with partly cloudy skies. Then tomorrow, some clouds passing by during the day around lunchtime, 85 if you're going to that festival. And then tomorrow afternoon, maybe a slight chance of a thunderstorm in and around the Pineville area. And then as we go through Saturday night into Sunday morning, maybe a passing shower mainly to the south with the lows right around 68 degrees. We have a lot to talk about in the weather, and I'll have more details coming right up.
Soon. A federal judge today handed down a life sentence to an ISIS terrorist who was part of the notorious terrorist cell nicknamed the Beatles. That terrorist was found guilty in April for his role in the murders of 4 American hostages in Syria. Astrid Martinez reports from New York.
Apple quietly released 2 security reports on Wednesday revealing vulnerabilities for iPhones, iPads, and Macs.
This is what we call a 0-day vulnerability when it's been.
Our apologies, that is the wrong report. We'll try to have the correct one for you a little bit later. There are growing fears the war in Ukraine could cause a disaster at Europe's largest nuclear plant. The UN Secretary General is calling for a demilitarized zone around the facility, which is in Russian-occupied territory in Ukraine. Both sides blame each other for shelling the area. Russia says its forces are there to prevent what it called a Chernobyl scenario. Ukrainian officials say Russia plans to stage a false flag incident at the plant and blame Ukraine. NASA's new moon rocket is at the Cape Canaveral launch pad. It's ready for its debut trip into space. Monday's blastoff will be a test flight for future trips to the moon. The rocket is shorter than the ones used in the Apollo missions, but more powerful. It'll fly around the moon in a distant orbit and splash down after about 6 weeks. The flight will be the maiden voyage for the space agency's Artemis program, which is aiming for a moon landing with a human crew as early as 2025. Still ahead, an online security problem.
Apple is urging users to update their phones and devices immediately. I'm Dina Demetrius with more on the security flaws that could give hackers complete control.
But first, prosthetics for pets. That's just ahead in Healthwatch.
Hi,
Topping today's Healthwatch, scientists have identified 70 genes that are strongly linked to autism. The new findings are part of a massive study of more than 150,000 people conducted through the Mount Sinai Health System. Doctors say they now have more insight into how genes and the biology of the brain connect to autism, and the genes identified will help with treatment in the future. Saving animals with prosthetics, a new age kind of rescue. A team trained at Thomas Jefferson University is helping all kinds of animals with injuries and birth defects. Stephanie Stahl has more now from Philadelphia.
He's my best friend. We pretty much do everything together.
Lydia Mindeck says her dog Trip is able to do everything now thanks to his new prosthetic leg.
For a dog who's never been able to walk on his own before, it's a really big deal.
Trip, who was born with deformities, was saved from being euthanized by Lydia, who knew exactly who could help.
We always knew we wanted to solve meaningful problems.
Adam Hecht and Alex Thal met Lydia when they were all studying industrial design at Thomas Jefferson University. Alex and Adam went on to create Dive Design that makes prosthetics for all kinds of animals, including this tortoise, who now has wheels replacing his missing front legs.
It's not necessarily because we absolutely love animals and we absolutely love prosthetics, it's just we enjoy solving really great problems.
Like Waddles, the pet duck, who's walking normally for the first time with their invention. And there's a pig whose missing legs have been replaced by wheels, plus Bo, the goat, who has a helmet to protect a missing part of his skull.
And so he definitely needed the helmet. I mean, he was headbutting everything.
Adam and Alex make the animal prosthetics using computer technology they created with specialized 3D printing technology.
It's the combination of technologies that really make a difference.
This is Django, born with deformed hind legs that made moving difficult, here outfitted with prosthetic wheels that function like back legs.
he's going in circles around you.
This has just been an amazing journey for us, helping so many animals and people and families. You almost become speechless because of how wonderful it is.
Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Adam and Alex also help other companies who create bionic parts for animals. Amazing. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the latest in home sale trends.
And we've got rain on the radar, also some tropical activity as well. We'll have details coming right up. A beautiful day across the 4 states, lots of sunshine, even a little bit of activity on radar, especially up to the north. But right now, let's take a look outside and show you what's going on here in Joplin. Partly cloudy skies, just a few thin cirrus out there, and also some cumulus clouds. And if you look way in the distance, you can see the tops of the thunderstorms that are on radar way off towards the north and west. That is eventually going to move back into our area, so it looks like some folks are going to see some rain over the weekend. Let's take a look at the calendar for the month so far. You can see that we've had 3 days this week of below normal temperatures. Today we were right at normal for the high for a change, as August has started to be pretty hot, just like July was last month. We do have some activity down in the tropics. Let's talk about the potential for Tropical Storm Danielle. We can see that later on tonight it's expected to become a tropical storm around 40 miles per hour. Then it will move up to the north and west and probably come ashore in northern Mexico just south of Brownsville and all the tropical moisture is going to go up the Rio Grande Valley into Texas, and they are desperately needing the precipitation. And also looks like it's going to be incorporated into this storm system across northern Texas. So it looks like Texas is going to finally see some relief from the drought that they've been experiencing, just like here in the 4 states. Temperatures right now are in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees, 93 in Independence, 89 in Yates Center, 85 in Nevada, and a little bit cooler also off to the east. Dew points are in the mid-60s, or mid-50s, I should say. There are a few mid-60s, like Pittsburg, with 66 degrees currently right now. So as a result, we're looking at sticky conditions, but the moisture is helping with those thunderstorms develop as they roll to the south and east later on tonight. When you factor in the dew points with the temperature, it feels like 91 in Independence, 86 in Anderson, and 84 down in Bentonville. The drought has been improving just a little bit, especially for our friends down in northwest Arkansas, but a large part of our area is still under extreme conditions, and hopefully we'll get some rain in here to help with that. Also, the rain will help with the pollen because it's been up there too, 8.7 out of 10 on the scale. Tomorrow, about the same. Let's take a look outside right now. You can see it's 88 degrees. 87 is what it feels like because the dew point is currently at 59, making a humidity of 37%. Tonight, lows are going to be in the mid-70s across our area. Notice up to the front, north up to the front, that's where the showers and thunderstorms is expected to be tonight, southerly winds. And then as we go through the day tomorrow, the front washes out and we'll see temperatures in the mid-60s by tomorrow morning, but a stronger front up to the north and west will start to make its way in here on Saturday with highs in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees with scattered showers and storms possible. Then as we go through Sunday, lows in the 60s across the area, and by Sunday afternoon, pretty pleasant. Temperatures in the mid-80s across our area for your highs. Then it comes back as a warm front as we move into Monday morning with lows in the mid-60s here in the Joplin area. There is a slight risk of severe weather tomorrow across the area, but it's really not a big threat, and any storms that do develop and become severe will probably just be some gusty winds. Your 7-day forecast looks like this: 85 for Sunday, 88 on Monday, and then we go back into the 90s as we go into the early part of next week with a chance of storms on Thursday.
Those temps aren't too bad, and boy, we need some more rain,
We
Sam.
desperately need some rain, and I wish I had some to give, but maybe later on we will get some.
All right, very good. Thanks, Sam. A federal judge today handed down a life sentence to an ISIS terrorist who was found guilty in April for his role in the murders of 4 American hostages in Syria. Astrid Martinez reports from New York.
The families of American hostages killed in Syria left the federal courthouse in Virginia after Al-Shifi El-Sheikh was sentenced to life in prison. El-Sheikh was part of a notorious ISIS terrorist cell nicknamed the Beatles because of their British accents.
Let this sentencing make clear to all who dare to kidnap, torture, or kill any American citizen abroad that U.S. justice will find you wherever you are.
Diane Foley noted that the sentencing came on the 8th anniversary of the beheading of her son, journalist James Foley. He was killed along with American journalist Stephen Sotloff and humanitarian aid workers Peter Kasich and Kayla Mueller.
They've left a legacy of profound moral courage.
The 3 men were beheaded, but questions remain about exactly what happened to Mueller.
We continue to search for the truth about what happened to her because we don't know for sure.
ISIS claimed she was killed in a coalition airstrike, but prosecutors say ISIS repeatedly sexually assaulted her, then killed her.
We want to bring her home. We want to put her on American soil where she belongs.
El-Sheikh was found guilty in April. Prosecutors had to take the death penalty option off the table as part of a deal with the United Kingdom to get him tried in the United States. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
One of Al-Sheikh's co-conspirators, Alexander Cody, was sentenced to life in April after pleading guilty. Another co-conspirator, Mohammed Amwazi, known as Jihadi John, was killed in a strike in Syria in 2015. Coming up, security flaws with Apple devices. First, though, we recognize a local veteran of the U.S. Army. Chester Selvey served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 1945, stationed in the Pacific Theater, and then later in the National Guard. In World War II, under Selvey's command, soldiers retrieved the body of a fallen lieutenant while under constant fire. For his actions, Selvey received a Bronze Star. His hometown, Lamar, Missouri, and we are proud to salute Major Chester Selvey, a four-state hero. You can learn about lots of other heroes. We have thousands of them in our database. You can also submit a hero of your own anytime. It's very simple. You just go to our website. You know what that is. It's KOAMnewsnow.com. Topping today's Consumer Watch, home sales are on the decline for the 6th straight month, giving home buyers a bit of leverage over home sellers. Home sales fell 20% from July last year, reaching the slowest pace since May of 2020, near the start of the pandemic. Buying a home is still less affordable than at almost any point in the past, thanks to inflation, high mortgage rates, and prices that remain near all-time highs. Apple is warning users of security flaws that could allow hackers to take complete control of your device. As Dina Demetrius reports, the vulnerabilities might have already been actively exploited.
Apple quietly released 2 security reports on Wednesday revealing vulnerabilities for iPhones, iPads, and Macs.
This is what we call a zero-day vulnerability, when it's been exploited by a hacker before the company, in this case Apple, have detected it and been able to do something about it.
The company believes the 2 security flaws are related. One affects the browser engine that powers Safari and other apps, and the second would potentially allow hackers full access to your device.
Hackers can actually have admin rights to those devices. So that means that they have access to all of the information.
The affected Apple devices include iPhone 6s models and later, iPad 5th generation and later, iPad Air 2, and all iPad Pro models, Mac computers running the Monterey operating system, as well as some iPods. Apple did not say where the vulnerabilities were discovered or by whom, citing only an anonymous researcher. Experts say these security flaws are inevitable when technologies are constantly evolving.
This is really a function of the fact that they're innovating, they're constantly developing. I think what's important here is that they have made that update available, and it seems that they've done that really quickly.
Affected users are advised to install those updates immediately. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Experts suggest that the average person's device has not been compromised. They say this kind of spyware is usually used in targeting hacking for political dissent, activists, and sometimes journalists. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, we go on the road with a story about a man's second chance at life. Then on KOAM News at 6, the latest on the investigation of that stabbing multiple times in Joplin's Ewart Park, latest overnight, plus the results of the Crawford County recount of election results on the abortion rights issue. And we're going to check in on Chiefs camp as they wrap things up. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. How would you like to name a planet? Well, there's a contest now open to name new planets discovered by the James Webb Space Telescope. Obviously, those in other solar systems. The telescope is making amazing discoveries every day, and each planet and host star, well, it has to be named. The International Astronomical Union just launched this contest. You can't name any planets or stars after yourself, your pet, or give it religious or military significance. I'm disappointed too, Sam. The public can submit ideas through November 11th. A committee will announce the winners on March of next year.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, but we can't have a planet Sam or a planet Dow.
Darn. Well,
that would have been, I would have nominated
I would have nominated you. That would have been pretty cool. How about KOAM? That would have been a good planet.
Maybe that's still in the running. That's not after ourselves, technically, right?
Technically, right. Let's take a look at the forecast, and we can know this for sure. We're going to see temperatures in the mid-80s through the weekend with a chance of storms mainly in the southern sections tomorrow afternoon, and then it is kind of dry for a while, Dow. Right on through the early part of next week. We really need some rainfall in here, but at least we're not seeing 100-degree temperatures.
Yeah, those overnight lows, those are
not
almost
bad. Chilly.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.